3.2. They say an incomplete unit 3 provide code for the object class to be accessible and an object variable object restaurant. So when you open this thing, you will see object restaurant already created for you. What some people that I helped with, what they did, they went and created their own other object. Please don't do that. If they give you one, use the one they give you. Alright, please don't go change it or use something else. They said they've given us an object, there we can see it, it's normally always here. So it is given to us, we'll use this one. Then 321, they tell us. The user must enter the name of the restaurant, the year the restaurant opened, and the number of employees using the components provided. So we go look, and we see there's everything. An edit box, our EDT company name, EDT year opened, and a spin edit, spin num employees. Has got the information we need. Then if you carry on reading the question, they ask us, first bullet. Use the data that has been entered to instantiate a restaurant object. So you'll see our link was created up here, but now we just have to go create that object. So the link is there, but the object doesn't exist yet. So we're going to go create it now with the values that's given to us. And then which method do we use again to create an object? We use the constructor. So we quickly go look. Where's this thing now? In our constructor, oh, it's an empty one. Okay, so we go look at our restaurant one and we'll see there's our constructor create. We need a name, the year, and the number of employees. And we see that's everything we've got here. We've got the name, the year, and the number of employees. So we've got all the information we need. So the way I like to do these things, you can do it all in one line. I don't prefer that. The way that I like is to create variables for them. We're going to need the name and the year it opened. Both of them are string. And we're going to need the number of employees, which was an integer. And then I would suggest first get the values from wherever. Okay, so then what we need to do is we need to get those values. So the name we just get out of our edit box, the text, and the year we also get out of our edit box, year opened, and then the number of employees we know we have to get from the spin edit. And from the spin edit, which property do we use again? Dot value. And our dot value gives us an integer, so we don't need to convert anything. So now we've got everything we need to create our object. So how do we create this object now?
We use the first name and then
Because what must I write?
use object restaurant.
Okay, so first step, you put your object name, which is object restaurant. Yes, and then?
The colon equals C restaurant.
So this is, you must remember, this is the only place where you do it this way. Only when you create the object. Because remember, the object, okay, wait, let me finish this thing. Okay, it's our to restaurant dot create. And then you can even see, they give you guidance as to what should happen there. So we must first have the name, which I called NME. Then they want the year, which I called year. And then they want the number of employees, which I called num. And that's how we create the object. This is the only place where you will say the class name dot the method, because the object doesn't exist yet. A very common mistake, what some of you might do, is you're going to go that route. You're going to say the object dot create, because everything else from now on is always the object dot method. And if you do this here and you play this thing, it's actually going to play. And you won't realize the mistake. And when you click this button, now you're going to get an access violation at address that. And then you've got no idea what is happening now. What is this thing doing? because it looks so nice and there's no red lines. But remember, this object doesn't exist yet. So we can't say this object.create because we haven't created the object yet. So we have to first say this object must be from our trestaurant class dot create. So now we create that object to use it. So only from now on, only after this line, now we can go object dot and use all the methods we've got. Okay, everybody good? Okay. You must please ask me if you're not clear about something. So now we've done the first bullet. We've instantiated the restaurant class. The next thing they say, use the toString method to display the details of the object in the reach edit component red q3. Josh, how do I do that? Red q3 dot lines dot add, yeah. Object restaurant dot toString. And that's all you do. So it's just your object dot the method you want to use. And then we want to display it in that component. So we can quickly test this thing. So when we click it, there you go. Everything working good. Any questions on this? This was 8 marks doing this. So 3.2.2. They say the user must enter the full name of the owner in the edit box provided for input. So we just go look again. We see there's the edit box for the name of the owner. So again, we're getting input from the user. So I would advise create a variable for owner name string. So our owner name must get the value of our edit box for the owner name text. Now we've got the owner's name. If you look at the previous button, what I did here, this first 3, you could have put all this inside there and made it one line, and that would have been fine. Personally, I like to do it this way because this is our input part. So we do all the inputs. This is our processing part, and then this is our output part. So we get everything we need from the user, then we do all the calculations that we need to do, and then we display everything we want to display. So I like to do the same thing here. Step 1, get all the input we need. Now we've got all the input we need. Now we can read on what it says. Write code to do the following. Call the compile code method using the full name of the owner as an argument. Okay, so now we quickly look. We've got the name of the owner. They said we must call the compile code one. So compile code, does this method return anything? Yes, because it's a function. What data type is it going to return? It's going to return a string. So that means on this side, we're going to receive a string. Let's say we don't know what it is. So I'm just going to go the answer. Because I'm going to get an answer. What? I don't know. But it's going to give me a string. And now I want to call that compile code. Bayanda, how do I call a method again? What must I write there? Not too sure. Tabete? Sinavuyo? How do we call any method? Seriously? It's our object, so our object restaurant dot compile code. So it's always your object dot the method you want to call. So they said we must call the compile code one. So it's our object dot compile code. Then we just look on this side. There's these brackets. What do they tell us again? That means we're going to need to send it something. Remember, it's our parameters. That means we need to send it something, and remember this was the owner name. So that just means in this brackets we must just give them the owner's name that we just received. And that's all you needed to do. We read the next part. Display the compiled identification code in the edit box. So remember the answer, it's in there now. So just in our edit box, ID code, the text property, we just want to go put the answer. And that's that button, that's another 3 marks. Then we can go. Any questions on this one so far? Good, good. Okay, then 323. The user must enter the number of employees to be added to the edit box edt add. Okay, so in the first bullet also they tell us extract the number of employees entered from the edit box. So look there, there is the number of employees will be typed in there. So again, personally I like to do the input first. So let's just create a variable. The number of employees, what data type will that be? Will be an integer. So the number of employees I want to add, I said we must just get from the edit box, add. But remember this is string, so we just need to change the string to an int. Okay, so now we know how many employees we want to add. That's the first bullet. Second bullet, they ask us, determine if the extracted number of employees can be added without exceeding the number of employees at the restaurant. So here's the maximum amount of employees we can have. This is how many we want to add. But can we find out how many employees are already here? Okay. Our get num employees will tell us how many employees are already there. So we want to know now, can we add this amount without exceeding this? That's what the question wants to ask us. So Sandile, what do you think? What do we need? Okay. Okay, so let's go there. So if the number we want to add it to the number we've got. So how do we know? How can we now? Remember, Toba told us we can use this get number employees. So how do I call that method? My object dot and then the method which is get number employees. So if I want to take the amount of employees I've got, add the ones I want to add, and if that is more than the maximum, then we just jump to the last bullet. The last bullet said, if the number of employees entered cannot be added, display a suitable message. So that means if it cannot. So if we take the number of employees we've got, we add this amount, and it's more than the max, then we just in our edit box update it. We must just display the message, and then you can look at the sample output and they say exceeds maximum. But if it does not, if the numbers can be added, so that's how we're going back to the third bullet. If it can be added, we must do two things. First bullet, they say call the relevant method to increase the number of employees. So let's quickly go see. Do we have a method that we can increase the number of employees? There we go. Increase number of employees. Is this one going to return anything? No. So we can just put the statement there. Does it need to receive anything? Yes, it needs to receive how many it must add. Okay, so how do we call a method again? Sisu, do you have an idea for us? Okay, so not the class but the object. So it's our object restaurant. Dot, which method do we want to call to increase the number of employees? Increase number of employees. And then how many do we want to add it with? Or increase it by? By num. Okay, that's all we do. So that's that bullet. And then the last bullet they say, display the total number of employees in the updated edit box. So in our edit box updated text property, we want to put the amount of employees that's there now. Which method can we call to show us how many employees we've got now? Get number employees. So Unati, how do we call now that method? Yeah. So this will be very quick, relatively good. The only thing with this, get number employees returns what data type? An integer, and when we display we want it. So we just need to take this integer to a string. Okay, and that's another 10 marks. And that's the end of that question paper.